We've seen some bad games from Manchester United this season. That game away at Sevilla, right up there with the worst of them. We won the League Cup this season. If we can finish top 4, it's going to be a successful first year for Erik ten Hag. But this is stage 1 of the rebuild. Who's going to make it to stage 2? That's what Ten Hag will be looking at for this game against Brighton. A very good Brighton team. Mitoma, Caicedo, McAllister. Looks like Evan Ferguson might miss the game, and there's a host of others. A very, very good team who will press with intensity, who will put pressure on our defence, on De Gea, on whoever plays centre-back. Lots of questions to ask. I'm going to run through my starting 11, and you can let me know what you think about your predictions in the comments below. But this is going to be a game where Erik ten Hag is looking on and seeing which of these players have got the mettle. Who can I trust? I think he already knows the answer to that. But with games coming thick and fast, how many changes can he really make before this game against Brighton? And injuries too. I don't think he can make too many. But Ten Hag will be looking at these players going, right, if you want to play for United next season, show me what you've got. Do you remember that from Rick and Morty? I like Rick and Morty. Anyway, this was a starting 11 that played away at Sevilla, right? And there will be changes. One change that I don't think will happen. I don't think De Gea is going to be dropped. Now, I've already said my piece on De Gea. I've said it all season long, quietly, and I'm a bit more vocal about it now. I see it as a fundamental problem. Against Brighton, he is going to struggle because Brighton will adopt the exact same strategy that Newcastle did at St James's Park. Whenever we have the ball inside our own box, they're going to have 3 men on the edge of the box. Watch it. It's predictable because it works against United, and Brighton have a natural pressing game. They're very, very good. Probably this must be Brighton's most successful season. So many exciting players. I'd definitely take Caicedo. I'd definitely take Mitoma. I'd definitely take Evan Ferguson. And I'd definitely take McAllister. They've got a great team. And certainly in terms of form, better than Manchester United right now. So they're going to put so much pressure on David De Gea. Now, in my opinion, whether or not Manchester United win or lose this tie revolves around 3 key players. And one of them is whether or not Luke Shaw is fit to start. Because if Luke Shaw is fit to start, this is the change that we see. Maguire, remember, is suspended for this game, so we don't even need to have a conversation about whether we drop Maguire or not. He's just not in this team. I think we see that if they are fit to play, and that's the caveat, I think we see Shaw and Lindelof as our 2 centre-backs, and I think we see Malacia come in at left-back. I think we see Wan-Bissaka hold his spot on the right wing because Mitoma's going to play. He's banging for him, and we need someone who's a little bit more defensive at Wembley. Remember the first half from Delo against St. Maximin at Wembley? Nah, we don't need that. I think Wan-Bissaka will start this game, and he should. If Luke Shaw isn't fit, I'm not really sure what happens in defence, okay? Because he hobbled off against Sevilla. McTominay is currently he wasn't fit to travel to Sevilla, so we don't know whether he's fit. Tuanzebe is even in the team anymore. Don't know. Varane's out. Martinez is out. Maguire's suspended. You could there is a possibility that we see Casemiro dropping into a centre back role against Brighton on the weekend if Shaw isn't fit to start. And if that is the case, then we're going to be rejigging this 11. But if he is fit, and I hope he is, Luke Shaw starts. And I think he's going to be integral as to whether we win or not. As is that man there. I'll speak about him after, because I want to speak about Casemiro next. Casemiro is my second. Actually, no, I suppose you can look at 4 players who are really integral. But Casemiro, he really struggled against Sevilla. He was bad. All right. And I'm looking at for a repeat of that performance from Casemiro in the League Cup final. Step it up, man. We need you to step it up in this game. We're going to have to look towards our best players and go, please deliver. Because we are not at full strength, right? Look, we might go in with a back 5 of Malacia, Shaw, Lindelof, and Wan-Bissaka. And De Gea in goal. We're going to struggle against a phenomenal Brighton team. And Casemiro, for me, is extremely important. He's got to screen that defence properly. He's got to protect that back 4, because if they get attacked too often, it's going to be curtains for us. And I'm just so happy that Bruno's back. My word, did we miss him against Sevilla. I don't think that performance would have dropped as low as it did, but like saying that, you know, what happened to Liverpool, he was in that team too. So he's not as if he would have stopped it all. But we need Bruno back in his team. And I think the position of Bruno is quite hard to predict in this game. And again, it depends on what, in my opinion, look, if Luke Shaw is not fit, right, we're going to see this, I think. Who else could play centre-back? Am I missing someone? I don't know whether I am. You let me know in the comments below. But I think you could see Casemiro drop down there. And therefore you see Eriksen drop there. You probably see Bruno drop there. And Sabitzer, I don't know whether he'll, in my opinion, I think you probably see that. It's going to be, that's a bit of a mad midfield and a bit of a mad team that I've made there. But that is if Luke Shaw isn't fit. If Luke Shaw is fit, right, and I hope he is, I don't really know about the setup here. Because, and I'll explain that in a sec. I think Luke Shaw will go there. I think you could see Bruno play in a slightly deeper role. The reason I'm saying that is because of transitions. Casemiro will obviously be there, but Bruno is far better. He's more agile than Christian Eriksen. Christian Eriksen, of course, that playmaker from deep, but he can also be that number 10 if we need him to. That's where he played so often in his career. Against Brighton, it might just be the energy of Bruno that Erik ten Hag wants, but Bruno's not exactly reliable there. He leaves tons of spaces. If maybe it's going to be Fred. That I don't know what this midfield setup's going to be, because it does depend on our defence, and it depends what sort of approach Erik ten Hag takes. It's really hard to predict this one, honestly. Normally I'm pretty certain with my starting 11s, but this one I kind of find myself scratching my head, because obviously Bruno comes back in, all right, and Eriksen was just like Casemiro, had a really, really shaky game. Really shaky game. I don't think Sabitzer starts. I don't think he's going to be fit to start. He definitely wasn't fit to start away. Eriksen had an uncharacteristically poor game, like Casemiro did. Let's go out on a whim. I think we're going to see that. I think we're going to see our traditional midfield trio, right? Casemiro, Eriksen, Bruno slightly further up, if they're all fit. And then we've got questions about going forward. I think we'll see Fred in this game. We might see Fred sooner in this game. We might see Fred start this game. And I think that depends on fitness going forward, because here's my third player. If I'm saying we're going to be relying on Shaw, Casemiro, Marcus Rashford coming back into this team. But where does Marcus Rashford come into this team? And that is, again, we ask because Martial limped off against Sevilla. Logic would dictate to us that he's not going to be fit to play this game. Certainly not fit to start this game. And it's just a problem with Martial that will just rear its ugly head every 3 or 4 games when he's just getting a bit of promise. It happens every single time, and it's happened again. No surprises. So if that's the case, then we see Martial through the middle, and then we have more questions. Because Anthony definitely will start on that right wing. If we're looking at his levels these last few weeks, it's impressed me. He's definitely developing. He's taken a bit more responsibility on and trying to show the fight and determination that Erik ten Hag is absolutely demanding from his players and not getting from every single one of them. Anthony will start this game out on that right wing. I don't know whether Jadon Sancho makes this starting 11. Jadon Sancho has been ineffective. That's the politest way to describe his performances in the last few games. Completely ineffective. And Ten Hag just doesn't take passengers. Whether you're Ronaldo, Maguire, Shaw, McTominay, every single player. If you're not playing good enough, to the bench you go. The question is, who do you play there instead? Who do you play there on left wing if Sancho doesn't start? I'd like you to let me know in the comments below, because it can't be Garnacho who's injured. It could be Rashford. If it's Rashford, then you might see Weghorst start. And that's a possibility, right? You can't rule that out. You could see Pellistri start, but I don't think Erik ten Hag trusts him enough to start him. And if you did start him, where would you start him? On the left wing, where he's never played? Would you force Anthony off the right wing and make Anthony play off the left? No, you wouldn't. Anthony's banging form. Logic would dictate to me that that would probably happen. I don't think it would be good enough for Manchester United. I think we've seen that. But if Martial's injured and Garnacho's injured and Sancho is bang out of form, maybe simply because of a lack of alternative, Erik ten Hag will stick with Sancho. But Sancho, man, if you get the opportunity, bro, deliver, man. Got to deliver. I think that's what I'm going to go for my predicted starting 11. What's that? A back five of De Gea, Malacia, Wan-Bissaka, Shaw and Lindelof, depending on whether Shaw's fit. Midfield trio of Casemiro, Eriksen and Bruno. And a front three of Sancho, Rashford and Anthony. My prediction for this game. I wish I wasn't doing this, but I think we'll lose. And I think this might be the first time I've ever said that in a prediction. Brighton, it just feels like Brighton are just too good for us, and they're going to have that intensity for the full 90, and we don't seem to have that. We didn't have that there. It's going to be tough. It won't be a hostile atmosphere because it's Wembley, and we won there in the League Cup final. Hopefully we win, but I'm going to go for a 2-1 Brighton, and if we do win, I think it relies on 3 players having good games: Shaw, Casemiro, and Rashford. And of course, we don't know whether Shaw's going to be fit, and if he's not fit, that changes, I think, our whole defence and probably our midfield as well. Who else could play at centre-back? You let me know in the comments below who you think could play there. Maybe you could see Dalot, Deputy. We're just kind of we're scraping the barrel here. But my prediction is a 2-1 to Brighton. I hope I'm wrong. You can let me know what your prediction is in the comments below. But if some of these players really are playing for their future and Erik ten Hag is looking on from the sidelines, turn up, lads. Or you'll just be booted out of the club in the summer, deservedly as well.